Hello, this is Brendan, and I'm just going to review very quickly this image, which is called Farian City, a digital painting, which has quite a few layers to it, which, well, I don't know, I don't like to have a lot of layers really, but it ends up like that sometimes because I just, need these weird lighting effects, and I can't think of another way to do it safely. So that's what happens. It's a convenience. I feel a little guilty about having layers sometimes because I started with traditional art and you don't have that luxury, right? So it's almost like, yeah, guilty for what reason I don't know. um, in this image here, let me go back to a previous one. If you saw the video before this one, you'll know that I started off like this with the black and white one, and you can see it was still a little sketchy here and had a lot of line work and stuff like that, and then moved on to more improved versions like this, and later got into this colored version. I like looking back on this actually. It's kind of funny. It's nice and clean and simple, and it doesn't have all of that weird foggy stuff. What does it look like? It looks kind of like a cartoon, doesn't it? There was a problem with the perspective on this one though, which you can see, well, you can probably see it very clearly. I don't know why my eye misses things like that sometimes. I guess because I'm not looking at the right location. And yeah, it's moving slow because there's so many layers. But stuff like this here, you could just see. It took me a while to spot it. What happens is if you go, see, even this is really weird. If you go like this and then imagine where it should come down, then and you look over here, there's just something clearly not wrong, right? That should come over and do kind of like a perfect kind of thing like this if the perspective was correct, right? It should be more like that. But you can see here it goes down and over and up over there. So what I did is I realized that this part here wasn't long enough. I'm not even quite sure how I figured that out. Um, because this is correct, guaranteed, right? You can see from here to here, this is right. Oh yeah, that's what I did. I made a straight line like that, and this is even up a little high, but oh well, stuff happens. So if we come here, bring it down, and then go over to touch this and come up, that's kind of where the problem happens. I guess, or it seems so at the time. It should stop about here and go like that. That was definitely, yeah, what I did, because that makes more sense, right? If it's obviously if it comes all the way over here and touches that, well then why is this part not touching, right? It should come right at this tip right here is where it should be touching. So because it's going to come down like this, the same way here it goes to the edge, down, over, makes a box up right there. Then here it should also make a perfect box, but it wasn't doing that. So what I realized is, for whatever reason, it's hard to explain, but this part just wasn't high enough. So you can see there I took out, when I add this, you can see this line is up here. When I take it away, then it's down there. Yeah. So anyway, let's get rid of that stuff. And then after this, I mean, I like this too. That's pretty cool how it turned out. Oh, wait, there's a red dot there I didn't get rid of yet. Yeah, okay, flip it back around. So this was a perspective study, and I'm trying to flip this back. Let me get back, yeah, okay. So I moved these out of the way, and I had a lot of layers, and what I learned mostly about this was the values, which I already covered in the previous one. I think after this I'm going to take a break from digital painting and go back to, let me see what this layer was. I don't know. What's the difference for this one? It's the same. I'm going to go back to comic book. There are some people who I believe are waiting for the, yeah, it looks pretty good. I like that. It's hard for me to get the first impression. When I look at something I've been drawing for like a week, I've been painting this off and on for over the course of a week, and my eyes just get used to it. one thing that I was really worried about, I want to note with this, and I didn't finish what I was about to say. I hate when I do that. Yeah, I was just saying I'm going to stop this and get back to. If anybody was waiting for the Dwarf Fortress comic book, that's what I'm doing next. I got to spend some time on that because some people were expecting that. So yeah, we're going to work on that. What happened here is more perspective problems. Is this here? And it's funny because it's only 1 point perspective that I ran into so many little problems. You would think that something like this should be simple, especially, I've been doing 1 point perspective for a long time. If there's anything I could do, it should be this. So I have, yeah, but even with this, I ran into problems. So let's look at this part right here. If you see, it comes up. That's your point right there, right? So, and if you're studying 1 point perspective now, this is a great thing to notice. Everything is like perfectly aligned so that it comes right down to that point. And it doesn't have to be like that too. I mean, this 1 point perspective, it's kind of a oddity. How often do you really get into a position where everything is just, perfectly lined up like that? Well, that's the whole point of 1 point perspective. It's just simple, but it's not really it doesn't come out looking so realistic because it's almost too easy to believe, too perfect to believe, I guess, is more of a situation. Usually things are just randomly scattered around, or a lot more random than this anyway, where everything is perfectly lined up like that. But when we're doing that, so what happens is you really have to be careful with scale, which is something else that I paid a lot of attention to with this. These are people. You zoom in, you can almost make them out a little bit. Randomly sized different people. Guys, there's a couple there. They're shorter and skinnier. He's big. He's it's like an alien world, so who knows how big they are. And then the cars, I just say, well, if a person is this big at this particular point, let me go over here and come down. Would he fit in that car? Yeah, it's about right. Right. And these people are small. This guy is actually huge, by the way, in comparison. If you look at the other people, they're a little bit shorter. And I made sure that they all, are at the right height, so that if they were to walk into that door or into this door over here, they should fit, reasonably within those areas. And then you have these are windows down here. It looks like there's some people in there. Again, I'm hoping that they're properly sized. So with that being the case, and as things get further away, as we know, they get smaller. You also have to remember that they get shorter, right? So these lines here are going to be like shorter and shorter. If we're to see, that means the distance from here to here, the distance from there to there are all about the same, but it seems to be shorter as it gets further away. That's why the cars are each one of them consecutively shorter. Now, that being the case, you gotta be really careful about distance. Let's say the distance from here to here is one car, which it seems to be, and so if that's like one car's distance, and this would be a box that comes down here. Again, you can see I have so many perspective flaws here. It's unbelievable. I guess when I got into the painting, things like that happen. But in reality, that's not too far off anyway. Nothing's ever perfect, right? So imagine each one of these boxes, and they seem to get smaller and smaller as they go into the distance. And it's about one car's distance from each box. So that means a car is what, 10, 15 feet long. I don't know, something like that. It's probably about 10 feet long. And then, so this would be like 20 feet, 30 feet. But, well, actually, is it? Look at how far that is. If there's this many people walking here, well, yeah, that's not too bad. But then as you get further away, that 10, 20 feet becomes a very small portion. So that means right here, 10 or 20 feet is a tiny little thing. And then up here, 10 or 20 feet is only a dot. Right? So now, if that little dot is 10 or 20 feet, all the little dots that go after it, you very quickly get into like a mile of space, because going to be tiny little dots are representing 40 or 50 feet even. And that very quickly turns into, many meters, which turns into a mile or something like that. So here's the question. If that's true, then by the time we get to the actual vanishing point, we zoom in here, this actual vanishing point, we should just be like miles and miles off in the distance. If that's true, then why is this thing so big right there? The base of this statue, which seems to be about where the vanishing point is big. So technically speaking, that's a huge flaw on my part that I shouldn't have done. And also, if that's the vanishing point there, and you know that's like miles away as it should be, then why are these buildings, which are seemingly even further behind, so big? So that's a lot of like a big mess up on my part. But I don't know. Do people really notice that when they look at it? What you're really looking at when your first impression is probably going to just be all these colors and dancing things around and this and that. You know, it's like a piece of art, right? Technically speaking, it's a digital painting. So I'm not going to cry over spilt milk. That happened this time. I hope it doesn't happen again next time. I just got to remember these things here. I mean, everything here, that whole horizon probably should have been brought down a little bit. Or we could also assume there's another way around this. We could assume that that area back there is elevated. It's up a little bit higher in the air, right? So everything back here is a little bit higher than the stuff down here. And in that case, this would be justifiable. But it still just doesn't seem right because it's standing like right over like if I had put this over to the left or the right or either way, maybe it would have been a little bit better, but it's like it's just right on the vanishing point, which means it should be very, very far away, and it's not that high up. So I don't know if it's justifiable. It doesn't seem right to me anyway. And I kept wondering, why do these things like when I took away the lighting and everything. I think I have a backup here. Let me just make a new visible. If you take away the colors, I mean not the lighting, and look at it like this, if you look at it at the right time, maybe you won't notice it at first, but if it catches your eye in the right way, you just notice that these things seem a little out of place, right? I almost felt like I was looking at a bunch of objects sitting on a desk, as opposed excuse me, as opposed to looking at an actual scene which is going far off into the distance. And I think that's why. You know, I think it's all because of that one little technical flaw that I made right there, and not considering how far away that actual point is. Or, I mean, it could be okay if this point is also like going like downward and a downward slope and it goes into a tunnel or something like that. But either way, I kind of made it, you know, blur out into the fog so you don't really know. It's hard to say, but it's just something like that makes it look weird. I like all these lighting effects that I ended up with using though. Maybe I'm not supposed to say that. It sounds like I'm flattering myself, but I mean, I like it. That's why I did it. Yeah. See that there? That whole layer is dedicated to making things shiny. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Because that's my recent philosophy on that, is that light is radiating, and so wherever you have light being emitted or reflected, I like to see it shining out like that, which I think is realistic, whether it be with a photograph or in real life. You should always have some kind of like, you know, the light is radiating, because, well, it is, I guess, right? It's like bouncing around and glowing sort of thing. So I actually called that layer shine, shiny things. And that's it. After this, I wanted to do more perspective practice with two-point perspective. I started working on that, and also 3-point perspective. But I have to get into some other stuff. I have tons of work to do, and I'm still abroad. I'll be traveling back in a couple weeks, so I might be a little MIA for a couple weeks. I'm going to do a video or two with the comic book pages that I'm working on, and then after that I will be traveling back. And I'm going to be like really into this again once I get back in the US. I'm going to have tons of new art and stuff coming out, so stay tuned for that. I just want to get this video out for anybody who's, you know, been following stuff and wondering what's going on. And this new image, if you want to see, you know, the full-size proper version of it, just go into my DeviantArt, which I'm sure there's a link down underneath the video here, which is on YouTube. And if I remember, I'll put a direct link to it. But yeah, it's up on my bschu.deviantart.com, and if you just go there, you'll see it. That's it for now. We'll see you real soon. Like I said, I'll probably have another one next week, and then after that I'll be gone for a bit, and then I'll be making tons of stuff after that. So next month is going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to it, and hope you're having a good day. Happy drawing. See you later.